Solo leveling finale. So,
Mm. Wow, that was amazing.
yeah, so how do we feel about Cha being saved? And in the way that Jinwoo did it?
And the way the what did it?
That Jinwoo kind of went about saving her.
Oh yes, oh yes, yes, yes. So that was crazy. That was, I mean, they really be pulling shit, like it worked. I mean, it made sense. Like that would work.
Yeah.
And but it was beautifully handled in a way that he asked for the cameras to be off, and then he kind of had his moment with the base guy, with the red hair guy, the
Yep.
sort of dude that, because he knew how close they were, and then he paid his respects to him,
Yeah.
in his own way. Like, he didn't give him the order, and he pointed out how he could tell that he was a very kind person because he didn't even have to give him the order for him to go and save her. I thought that was very, very emotional.
Yeah. Also,
And then how he released him afterwards, right? Because the
yep.
other guy also plead him to, not use him in battle because he didn't like battles.
Yeah. So I
So
what I also
that
found
was
really
very
interesting about that, right, was that Jinwoo said he heard a voice that was telling him to
oh
use
yeah,
him. So, what'd you think of that?
yeah, that was, and the expression that he gave to his friend towards the end.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, it makes you think like that lingering spirit, like
Yeah.
like yeah,
But
yeah.
so
It was
yeah,
very good.
after all this, I can finally say the actual name of the Shadow Soldier, of the Ant, right? Beru. I don't know if you noticed that, but I was always calling him the Ant King prior because I didn't want to
Mhm.
give away his name, to let you know that.
Mhm.
So Beru.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was his name was great. How he called him his king and he was able to speak. No, it was good. It was really, really good. How he killed everyone, like how he killed his own like ants,
Yep.
and and that other girl knew it was Jingwoo. That was
Yep.
great too.
So I will say the anime did a good part in that. I'm not sure if that was part of the manga. It might have been part of the light novel, but I think in the manga they didn't show any of the former people that we met fighting the ants.
Mhm.
So it was really
No, yeah, we did.
we also met somebody. Well, not necessarily met, but we got a glimpse
We
of.
met a bunch of people. We met that guy on the fucking boat with the
Yep.
sword.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
the.
amazing.
So that's the. I believe that's the Chinese S rank hunter.
Okay, that's from China.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That fucking move of like the two slashes and then like the explosions.
Yep.
Wow, that was like super legit.
Yeah.
Um,
But
and
I.
then and then what else? Those other two in the cave, that old man and that other like beast looking guy, totally threw me off. Like, who were they either? I'm
So
guessing it's just like the Chinese dude, a,
so I
another
will.
lead country as hunter coming to
So I
see.
I'm gonna let you know they're not hunters, and that's about all I can
Oh
let you know.
no, they're not hunters. It gave and also gave me that feeling because they're the bad guys feeling, and the fact that it seemed like what they were there. No, actually, the reason why I actually felt they were there, it was because of Gene Wood's dad. Like
Uh,
like
so
like they've been trying to catch him, and it led them there, kind of thing, and he was
so
able to like escape
um
or
no so how you should interpret that is that they were there for Jinwoo and that the father was there to help Jinwoo or to. make sure Jinwoo didn't get jumped by those two. Because
Okay.
because they did say that there was like it was like a similar to something else, I believe, right? Like they were like, oh yeah, he was here before. So the only one that was there before was Jinwoo. So that's why you would have to take it that they were there after Jinwoo for some reason.
Mm. Well, no, I knew they were there after him, but yeah,
So
yeah.
it was
Okay,
based.
cool.
So I really want to talk about like the little funeral stuff because that I think was like a very
Mhm.
powerful moment of the episode where uh even though Jim was getting all this praise, right, and he goes shows his respect, we learned that even though he saved everybody, he was still getting critiqued because he arrived there late, and they're like, oh well,
Mhm.
he kind of like could have saved a bunch more people if he was there from the
Mhm.
beginning. So it
Right.
wasn't that Jim Woo was gonna be always a hero, but like now he kind of sees the consequences of his actions in a way too, because
Mhm.
he himself realized maybe I could have done more if I would have gone, which is still good because it shows that Jim Woo still has some humanity left, even though the system is constantly pushing him to be less and less human as he levels up.
Mhm.
And,
Yep. I
and
like how he gets stuck on another red gate.
yeah, he shows
And
up.
his only two thoughts are onto the next, and I should have called my mom. I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, he's like, I was gonna be late. But another good moment that I really liked is Cha, right? When she realized, she pretty much realized how weak she is, and she's like, damn, I kind of
Mhm.
want to get stronger. Because if I get
Mhm.
stronger, I can stand by Jinwoo's side.
Mhm.
Eh,
Yep.
So our good girl Cha is pretty, has some pretty good moments.
Mm.
And then the last thing I really want to talk about is the part with Jinwoo kind of saying like every hunter always goes in there realizing that they could be the prey at some point, and that
Mhm.
they all are there to fight for like different reasons, whether it's to live, to make a living. Some are even to defy their own faith. You know, it's kind of like
Mhm.
implied that a hunter will always be the one that chooses to fight over anything.
Right. Beautiful. Yeah.
So
Beautiful last episode.
yeah. Final final rating on Solo Leveling. Or like, what would you give it?
A 10.
Oh,
A 10.
I'm glad. I'm glad we agree because I'm giving it a 10. And what do you expect moving forward? Just to get your
Um. Well, the red gate. I mean, seeing how he builds his own gate, those enemies with his dad.
yep.
That's what I'm expecting.
Okay.
And more of S rank international like view.
So I I almost forgot to like to ask you or to like see if you noticed that they did kind of point out some of the excellent S rank hunters at one point. There was like four of them. One of them was the guy with the
Mm.
blades. The other one was one that was mentioned, Andre. The other Korean hunter that's in the United States, and then somebody else.
Mhm.
So those are like four exceptional hunters, I believe, that they're trying to kind of comparing Jim Woo to at the moment, and
Mm.
possibly like his what his next ceiling will be. But yeah, interesting. All right, that's it on Solo Leveling. Doctor Stone. We got four episodes. Episode 9, 10, 11, 12. So, how do you want to go about this? Because we left off with Senku getting shot.
Nice. Well, I really like how he had to slow down the bullet, or else he was. I mean, he still got very critically, you know, hurt, and and it needed like some sort of medical attention. And I like the Luna was a medical student,
Yep.
and
Failed medical student.
yeah, failed medical student because she just was there for the looks and the connections and got there through the connections. So,
Yep.
but she was still, useful because she did try it at some point, and that kind of helped her navigate or at least be able to follow Senku's
Order.
instructions, right?
Yeah.
He was yeah, 'cause he was kind of telling her what to do.
Yeah.
But
While
yeah,
dying.
that was good. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
I will say from this,
mhm,
right, I love the moment Taiju has with her, right, where he kind of like grabs her
right.
hand and realizes that she's
Hmm.
their only hope, and he's like, you gotta please help us, right? He's like my
Hmm.
best friend.
He's my friend. Yeah, he's my best friend.
So,
I love him.
mhm.
Yeah, and then that was very legit. And then from there, obviously they're
with
trying to think of their attack mode, attack plan and all that. And crazy of him, bold of him to to take part of the battle, especially riding the fucking plane.
well,
But
first off,
mhm,
right before I just want to say it's great that because Senku was out, he instantly had like a backup, right? He realized, well, I'm out, but luckily we still got a scientist that's been seeing me do all these inventions, right, and seeing how I think and all this stuff. So he pretty much handed
mhm,
the reins over to Chrome,
mhm,
and
yeah,
Chrome, Chrome did his thing. He made without even realizing what he was doing. He made a drill or like a plan for a drill.
yep, love that, and made the tunnel. And I definitely said so so when they went to attack each other, how you know they needed to be. I like how it all happened through all levels, right? Air, ground, and underground.
Yep, it was like in each level. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and I really like that. When you thought, when you think like at first, in the air, I really thought Senku got it, but obviously it was a dummy, right? Like Stan wasn't even fucking there.
Yep.
So, so from there, um, on the ground, they had the upper hand because Stan was taking over the boat hostage. But then he had his knight in the underground to take the king from the other side, So they took their pawns, but they took the king, So
Yep.
their king, and I like how they had diplomacy, right? A deal. Like they had to come up with a with a deal and with a truce for the time being, and the doctor really thought that he had the upper hand, right?
Yep.
But Senku really knows how to, bluff when he needs to, or really, take the upper hand when that isn't, because he's like, oh, they're not gonna let you through. They're not gonna let you through, and he's like, no, we're gonna move forward. Like
Yep.
it's not about them letting us through, we just need to
We're just gonna keep
move
going.
forward. And and I like that how they use the petrification device and how the hostages had to play their part. I don't know. It's just very very silly but realistic, and it felt like it was very very well
Yeah,
done.
I also like the fake out of Stanley, right? Prior to this, where it was like somebody else driving the plane,
Hmm.
but they just looked like Stanley, and but obviously it wasn't Stanley because when Stanley came out, he was able to capture everything within a minute.
Hmm.
But no, Yeah, I think also my favorite part is we got to see Playboy Senku a bit, right? Because he kind of tricked Luna to make believe that they were gonna be dating, and he he was pretty much just not necessarily using her, but kinda using her, and it worked out for him. He got better, and towards the end, I love how they said goodbye to his friends, right? Because they were like pretty much about to like get out of viewpoint, and pretty much they were like, "Damn, we haven't said goodbye," and they were like, "Well, if you go out there, you can either stay inside or you can say your goodbyes and be full of bullet holes. Which will you choose?"
Ah, but they still say goodbye.
Yeah, and obviously Chrome's like, "Well, obviously we're gonna say goodbye." Which once again, I know you don't like it, but that whole like arms up is a whole ass One Piece reference. It truly is a One Piece reference, and I love that moment. Oh,
Mm, yeah, and
but
yeah, it was great. It was great, and like, yeah, Chrome. It was sucks seeing the couple, having to to be in different teams. I thought that was kind of bittersweet.
yep,
Mm, the 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 couple. Um, but oh, and I definitely thought it was hilariously funny how when Luna, reunited with them
yep.
and brought in, the people with her, how she, in her mind, Senku was going to react and how he actually reacted kind of close to that.
It was
And
in
it
his
really surprised her. Like,
yeah.
it even like really surprised her.
It was just
I thought it was so fucking funny.
yeah, and
Like
I think
it
one of
even
my
caught her off guard for him to like actually go like be close to that.
yep. I think what my favorite part was during the final episode was with Senku kind of letting everyone know, we may have Sino right now, but he is a man of science, so like
Hmm.
they didn't necessarily have to like keep him tied up.
I know, honestly, that moment where came up, he looked just so beautiful too.
Yeah, you should see the manga panel of that. Like that is
Yeah.
that is real beauty right there. But yeah, that's it on Doctor Stone. Unless you want to say anything else.
That's it.
Okay, so well, what's your rating on it? Because I got it like a 8.5.
Mm, yeah, 9. I'll give it a 9.
Yeah. Uh, maybe mine is because I've already know what's happening, so I don't have that shock factor.
Mm.
But did you hear we're getting the second part in the summer?
Oh, nice.
Uh, we won't have.
Nice, nice.
So right now
Years to wait.
the summer's looking pretty stacked, but it's about it on Doctor Stone. Bogus Skill episodes 10 through 12, I believe. It was the final fight with Lena and
Yes, with that dude.
yep.
With the dude.
So I gotta say, for the most part, I like how it seemed that they were on the losing side for the
Right.
majority of the part, right? And it
Yes.
and even with the bureau helping them, it was still kind of like, damn, you know,
Yeah, they were being overpowered.
yeah. And
But I kind of figured that little unicorn pet was going to come
yeah,
as a clutch,
yeah,
clutch,
yeah.
and it did. So
I mean,
ended up being the spirit of the Pegasus from the last Fairy King, and that was legit. I thought it was very cute that she did resemble them, and that her gift um helped her kind of uh help them to do that for her,
So
and now she has that power. I thought it was very, I don't know.
I mean, it did help
They
her.
pulled it off,
Yeah,
they pulled it off. Like they managed to get it to work,
yeah.
to
I mean,
combine her gift with this I
you.
don't know, mystical creature
Yeah. So
and level up,
yeah, she pretty much. They said she pretty much evolved into one of the fairies, essentially,
Yeah.
with it. Um.
Yes, she did. She evolved. Her power evolved. Yeah, it was I thought it was good. Um
Yeah, and I get
and I uh
no. I mean, I just gotta say that this pretty much confirmed to me that Dratna was kind of join our side, right? After seeing this, especially after the final episode when she
yeah.
did the dance.
Yes, that was them,
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like,
coming together to do that for the people.
yep, and
Yes.
it just pretty much really did say like she tried to get Lena to go with her, but it was kind of like, well, I didn't practice too much for it. This is all you. And now the townspeople were like, they were like kind of talking bad about her, but then they're like, well, actually, she did kind of help us out during the monster invasion a lot. So
Mhm.
now they're kind of seeing her in a different light.
Yep.
And
Yeah, and I like how she was still very strong about her opinion about the sister,
yes,
and that she needed to come up with her own, conclusion, because obviously her experience was different, you know.
yep,
So I felt like it was pretty cool too, in a way that um she like I said, she has a different experience with her, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't know what's happening, and that she is pulling the strings on this, and that she doesn't even know what she was pulling the strings on her, like why is she really like after doing,
yeah. So
um
so interesting thing, right? I think in the final episode we did find out what the sister's possible ability is, which is kind of a
right,
foresight,
right.
which she's able to like kind of look into the future, and that's how she's able to
Mm,
determine what fruit skill people are gonna get, and play it off
yep,
as the appraisal skill.
right, right. That was a big discovery
Yeah,
to yeah.
and we also found out that whatever her plans for the future are kind of being thwarted by light, so she kind of wants to get rid of
Hmm.
them. But
Yep.
I love that they kind of piece together with Lena. Well, not Lena, but the flower hat bureau person.
Hmm.
She kind of is like, it's not a coincidence that you have faced a wicked dragon like 2 or 3 times now. She's like, I feel like it's very calculated by the sister
Hmm.
to either uh, get rid of somebody or to actually enhance your evolution. One of the two.
Hmm. Agreed. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean,
So yeah, and then they still haven't met up together. It seemed like they were it was left with them like having to go their separate ways, because she's gonna stay with the broker,
yep,
while Light is gonna go and take on the missions or the quest.
yep.
So
And we did get a new crew to the mix, which is Monica. She decided to join because what if Light Sword gets
yeah.
broken? you know.
Hmm.
Um.
Yep. And then going to see him fight would help her develop the best ones.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
it was good.
and then towards the end, they met up with another S rank that was sent by the bureau. Very suspicious. After the
Hmm.
the sister said, "I gotta eliminate them."
Right, right, right.
So,
Eh,
uh,
but
so
yeah,
I mean,
overall,
good show.
yeah,
Seven,
it worked out.
like a seven. Not not too much, not too little. Just a good watch.
Yeah.
And all right, that's it on Bogus Skill Fruitmaster. Sakamoto Days.
Sakamoto days, yes.
So
So,
let's tackle the lab. Uh,
yes. So the lab, very, the order was there. Live Sakamoto taking care of the big guy was a crazy fight,
the deer.
with the
Yeah.
train. He definitely show him why he's who he is. At the beginning, he really thought he was just a fatty, but as always, he like overpowered, and overtook the control of the fight. Like fucking Sakamoto put him in his fucking place. Like he was a tweak, like even though he had all this like explosive and weapons, and this dude would do it with what? With like a bar of a train.
Yep.
That actually I noticed that a lot of throughout the series how this guy wouldn't use any fucking weapons. He would just use little fucking materials around.
Yeah. So Sakamoto's whole
And it would
thing.
turn into like a fucking crazy weapon.
Yeah. So Sakamoto's whole gag is that he, well, not a gag, but like his whole gimmick is that he can literally make a weapon out of anything in his surroundings.
Anything. Anything, yes.
So I think he
Like
had like a gum and some like
yeah, yeah.
it
A
was
clip. It's stupid. Like stupid little things.
the
Like
a mechanical pencil.
serious.
Um,
Lead from the mechanical pencil.
yep, he used it to blind the guy. Yep. Uh, I think one of the more interesting parts about this is that we did find out a bit about the person that was with Shin and then Shin's backstory, right? And how
Hmm.
the person that
Yeah, the doctor.
yeah
Yeah, and we all got everyone to think for him to hear the thoughts of being happy that that he's looking good, that they feel sorry about what happened last time,
yep
that they say things to him. It was a good um like comfort, like yeah,
yeah
like
yeah because Shin
closure. It
yeah
was good closure.
yeah because Shin's always like
There
with
was some
the
closure there.
yeah Shin's always feeling kind of like not insecure but a bit like uh he has some insecurity with his power because he does know that it makes people feel less be makes people want to be more distant towards him because he can invade their personal privacy at any point, and of course knowing that he doesn't really try to read people's mind unless he absolutely has to, and
Hmm.
but you can see how he's struggling with that and also how the person that made the potion to give him his powers feels like he's responsible for Shin being so isolated from everybody because of him trying to make those superpower potions, which I thought was like the most interesting part, right? And of course, the fight with the ranger was good, but I want to hear your thoughts on the Slur introduction.
The what introduction?
Slur or X, the main baddie, because this was during the lab. He kind of like Shin was trying to
Oh
get.
yes, 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 yes. The one that the mask guy is it's working for.
Yep, him.
Yes.
How do you feel about him? Just based on the introduction.
Um. So him, um, I feel like he's just pure evil. He's just out there trying to, and seems that the guy who is most capable of killing is living a peaceful life, and that bothers him. So he put a bounty on his head.
Yeah,
Kind of feels like that. But he definitely seems pretty psycho. I mean, the fact that he went to go get criminals from like crazy, prisons to give him the mission to kill Sakamoto, it's kind of crazy, you know?
Yep.
Like that next level of first you're putting like a bounty with all the hitmans, and mafia assassins, like everyone,
Yep.
any, and
Yeah.
now that the people that are free and you know free and out weren't able to do it. He broke people out of jail so they can do it. So that's fucking psycho. But
So I will say,
yeah,
despite that, right, the way the reindeer person talked about him, it almost made him feel like um he was like a savior, right? Like he is otherworldly, like somebody you should be worshiping, and also like possibly has like is more kind than we are aware of. It could be that too, but he does have a vibe that's like pretty demonic, pretty. Oh, if you mess with them, you're gonna die right away. And I found it very interesting that when Shin was going towards him, he said, "There's two people down there," but when he arrived there, it was only him. So, what are your thoughts on that?
when he arrived, it was only him.
Yep, because Shin said there's at least two people down the hall, and when Shin arrived, it was only him that was sitting.
Oh no, I did not catch that. To be honest with you,
Okay.
no, I didn't even catch that one.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
food for thought.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for real, for real. But
but the
yeah,
casino part, how'd you like the casino stuff? Or,
the casino was super fun because um we get again a little bit we kind of go back to her and her roots,
yep,
and this is somebody that was trying to take her back to that,
yep,
and while explaining their position in there and that in that society and that family and that mafia, so we see that she's always been the princess, and she's always felt like there's always had all this family that she couldn't keep up with, kind of thing.
yep,
And then this dude always felt that he had to force himself a place there because he wasn't a physical, strong person, a violent person. He was more of a book mentalist,
yep,
and he was the only one that saw worth in that, or saw
yep. And he developed a
value value in that, and he became obsessed with her because of that, but regardless of that, I really like the way that they kind of approached her, right? Like he was really just trying to do that to protect her and do what's best for her,
yep,
and obviously Sakamoto and Shin are just trying to do whatever her will of it, which is that she gets to choose,
yep,
you know just the freedom of choosing.
yep,
And but I like that at the end he's leaving her in good hands, right?
yep,
And obviously the whole casino thing was so funny, like how Chin did not know how to play poker, how fucking Sakamoto was playing the roulette
yep,
and had to move the use throw the chip so it would land into it for
yep,
him to win, because
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
the casino dude, the house was always doing some cheap stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the whole casino was cheating
yeah,
against them either way too. So like,
yeah, yeah,
they just had to
that
make
was
it.
funny.
They just had to make sure not to get caught, which in the final match
Hmm.
was a bit harder right? Because the guy kind of deduced what they were capable of. With Shin, he was like, "So I take it you can read minds." It's like, but can
Right.
can you
But he
determine?
fucking overloaded it.
Yeah, he overloaded him with info because he was thinking of multiple things.
That's hilarious, dude. That was so hilarious and complex thing. That was hilarious. And then burn him. That was so fucking funny.
Yeah, and then with
Yeah, but I really like how everybody else kind of got tired of doing things this way and they went against him, you know, and Sakamoto was, come on.
yep,
And then that's kind of how, like, when where they bonded. I thought it was kind of,
yeah, which I really, by the way, I really love that in this show you're just having like a bunch of uh not necessarily like a bunch of, you can say kind of misfits, but kind of like isolated people from that are coming together with Lou, you know, and her mafia thing, kind of like pushing her to the side. This guy that's also in the mafia, but he's isolated because he's brains over bronze.
mhm.
Heisuke being isolated from the assassin group because he can only snipe, and of course Shin being isolated just because of his powers existing. So Sakamoto's really kind of gathering a bit of like a family, you know, with a bunch of misfits.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
fun stuff.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think this is where he found out that Slur put the bounty on him too, or at least the bounty started happening when Slur started getting active. So we can kind of deduce that Slur is the reason behind the Sakamoto's bounty.
Flora?
Huh?
What did you say? Flora? What's behind Sakamoto's family?
Slur or X.
Oh, Flora. Oh, yes, yes, that dude. Yes, Flora.
So he's the reason why Sakamoto has a bounty
Mhm.
now.
Mhm. Yeah.
But other than that, I gotta say I really enjoyed this anime. Like it's not as flashy as Solo Leveling per se, but as far as like
Mm.
characters being likable and story, it is looking to start getting really good. Uh, but what are your thoughts on what's gonna happen moving forward?
Well, with those prison breakers coming for them,
Yeah,
um, I like how they feel the need that they need to capture them. You know, they're not for them to be found. They're going after them,
yep,
and um, and it seems like they want to put an end to it. Right? They just kind of they find his lead, like they said. That's their lead to get Slur, and they want to get to that dude and crush him so they can go back to their normal lives. So
yeah,
yeah, that's what
okay,
my deductions are.
yeah. I mean, I read the manga, so I know where it's heading. But
Nice.
uh, what do you give the anime overall? Like out of 10?
A strong 8.
Same. I give it an
Mhm.
8. But that's it. That's it on Sakamoto. So medalist. So it's 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Mhm.
So uh, I guess we should start off because there was a bit of a time skip, like a year time skip or something like that. Because
Oh yeah, after she needed to rest a little bit, she was yeah
and Ishimori,
intimate.
yeah, and in Inori was finally like a level 5 competition, so about to like hit level 6. You know, almost
Mhm.
nearing Hikaru's level.
Yeah, to be able to compete with Hikaru.
Yep,
She's
yep,
been the goal here.
yep.
Um,
She's kind of like split blitzing through these levels pretty much, trying to catch up to where everybody's already at essentially from the when they started at H5. But in the episode 10, I think this is where Ryu gets kind of introduced a lot better, or like at least we start finding out more about him because he
mhm.
goes with his father, who's the
Yes, we like finally him, you know.
yeah, we realized that his father was like the second silver medalist, right? which Tsukasa is a big fanboy of.
Mhm.
And now it's pretty much like he's gonna be taking care of his kid, getting him ready to hit the big stages. And yeah, we this is like when he started going with Tsukasa, right? You know that Ryo is not really capable of taking compliments that well. Like, cause whenever like Tsukasa would compliment him on his form or like his jumps, he he would always like lash out at him. Like, this is the least I can do given my circumstances, you know.
Yeah.
But I like that the main reason for this was that I think they tried everything they could with his current club, and it just was not Ryo was not being able to take that next step up to be able to compete in the same level as Hikaru. So they kind of figured, like, a change of pace would like do him good. And
Yeah.
and this is where the rivalry between Ryo and Inori kind of like kicks in, right? Because Ryo was talking a lot of smack about Tsukasa, like, oh, he's not even a medalist or like a proper professional. Like, you're not gonna be learning anything from him. And Inori was like, nope, I'm gonna be he's gonna be my coach, and I'm gonna win a gold medal with him. You'll see, you know.
Yeah, that was it was so crazy because I mean there's some truth in that, but that's not really always the case. So so it was good that, it was talked about and that uh, um if even for Sukasa was really like he even had it, like he saw that coming. He's gonna tell me, he's gonna make me say it that I left, at a level lower and that makes him better and how I can be his coach, like
Yep.
he's going to make it, he's gonna make me say it, and he did. The fucking kid really did too.
Yeah.
But but it seemed like from then on it's when things took a turn for the better though, it was like yes, but it was like a very strong but. And then he demonstrated that just because you started late and outgrew um like the cookie cut of how things are done doesn't make you not good.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, it was great. I love that he went and said, "Well, let me show you what I can do."
yep.
Like after you see what I can do, then you can, tell me, you know, the value that you see in my skating. And obviously, the dude was impressed.
Yep. To the
So to the point that he respected him and was happy to to let him be his coach.
well, I
It was
think,
very touching. It was very
yeah,
touching.
I think what he pointed out exactly was the that he was like his former coach, right? The coach for Hikaru, that he moved just like him, like to almost to a T, where it seemed like he was watching that guy performed without all the crazy
Hmm.
jumps, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
but
I really also like how he put into perspective to him that
yep.
the reason why he hated the other coach guy, it's because he made it seem easy and
Yeah.
that he wanted to be like him, and that he made it, and the fact that he made it seem easy when it's this hard, it's what makes him, hate him. But
So
very good stuff.
I what I really enjoyed, right, with this portion that I watched was seeing the difference with Rio and Inori. They were kind of like they were like a complete opposites, right? Where Rio had
Hmm.
like the proper upbringing as a skater,
Hmm.
where his dad was a
Right.
former silver medalist. He's
Had all
always,
the coaches that he could have. Yeah.
yeah, like with like proper pros. While Inori was like late into the game with a coach that didn't even make it to the sixth level, or like to the
Hmm.
level that Rio is at, even. So
Yep.
Inori had everything working against her, but she still somehow managed to prepare
To
herself,
look up. Yeah.
yeah, to overcome. Whereas Rio, he had everything working for him, and he felt that he was constantly failing because he couldn't overcome his current obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what I really like because he even noticed that himself, right? He said like, I got everything going for me, and I really
Mm-hmm.
can't blame my circumstances, so I can only really
Mm-hmm.
blame myself for my own failings.
Right. Right. It was really good.
Yeah,
Agreed.
incredible coming from a 12-year-old to have that perspective, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
uh
Agreed.
but yeah, I love that both Inori and Rio were able to land their jumps during their practice, right?
Yeah.
Practice camp. And even Mike was also doing her own kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that Mike got brought back in for a bit just to kind of like show us that, even people that started early are going to
Mm-hmm.
struggle.
Yes.
And it also like, I love that her coach gave Inori like the proper advice for her to move forward. And she's like, "Oh no, did I just help out a rival?" uh,
Right.
yeah, but
Very cute.
yeah,
Oh man, that little moment we had when she saw Hikaru and and
well, before that, the ballerina stuff. I like the whole point of the ballerina training camp.
oh yeah, that was very cute. Yes, that was very good. I like the kitty girl how she felt felt like it was a waste and then came to appreciate it and acknowledge that because she thought it was a waste, she fell behind, you know? I
Which,
thought that was it was it's very like this show is very good at able to portray um the growth that it takes to really graft your art, you know? Like
yeah,
especially in something like in sports and you know, yeah,
yeah. I
very good
also,
stuff.
what I took away from that is that because of her and Inori being kind of like in like similar situations in this one time, it just kind of goes to
Mm,
show that even if you start late, doesn't mean it's completely over, right? Re you can always start from zero, right? So
mhm,
this is her way of like, okay, I'm gonna start actually like putting focus in now, right? No more slacking
mhm,
off. This was like her point of like, I I'm not gonna slack off anymore, which I thought was really good. Um,
mhm.
and then we actually get to the final episode, which is just beautiful. Um, with Inori meeting Hikaru again and saying, "I'm gonna join you next," right?
Mhm. Yep.
and
Making a promise.
yeah, and she, her and Rio were pretty much the first two exams or like tests. They pretty much passed with flying colors. But when it came down to like the final performance, it was like the point where it was like, oh, this can get like a bit shaky. Because
Mhm.
it's like all the nerves were racking up on her. Like even the mother started like worrying. And I love that the mother tried to go comfort her, and
Mhm.
Inari was just like, yeah, thank you for letting me skate. It's like
Right.
you gave me the opportunity to no longer be embarrassed with myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was very strong because that episode started with her having a dream of how she used to feel about herself.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is like, it's like one of those like self-reflection moments where she kind of realized, oh, I might have been really pathetic back then.
Mhm.
And it's almost like her at the beginning of the episode almost seemed like she hated her former self, but with her performance in this episode, right towards the end,
Mhm.
she started realizing, oh, it's not because I hated myself, it's because I'm finally trying to allow myself to let go of that part that I felt
Mhm.
embarrassed about. And not,
Mhm.
not because
Yeah.
even if I let go, it's not that It's not like I'm gonna forget about who I was, because who I was is what led me to this moment of who I
Mhm.
am becoming now. So I thought that was like the dance. First of all, once again, the entire every single like choreographed dance in this anime has been like beautifully done, even with
Mhm.
it being like CGI.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Agreed.
but yeah, it was so beautiful and landed everything perfectly. Couldn't ask for a better performance.
Yes, it
Um,
was really good.
and the last thing I guess in the episode was with Rio, right, where he kind of was. Inori was like, "Damn, how did I do, right? Am I really gonna pass?" Like she was freaking out, and Rio was like, "Listen, you did well. That was a great performance. Really." Coming full
Mhm.
circle from when we first saw him interact with her, it's like, who are you? Like, I only acknowledge people that are at Hikari's level, and this is him like acknowledging her and her skills. So really love how well these characters grew throughout the season.
Mhm.
And yeah, both of them pass, luckily. And we that's it for the episode, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I got it. The only thing I will say is there's season 2 coming already. They announced that it is in production, or that
Oh, okay.
it is
Good.
greenlit at least. So like we'll definitely get it within like 3 years or something. Uh,
Okay. That's fine.
Overall, I think for the rating, I give it like a 9. What about you?
Mhm. Yeah, an 8, 9. Yeah, it's good. It's up there.
Yeah, definitely one of the better ones for me. But that's it on the medalist. So ReZero, so 66, the
Mm.
grand finale of season 3. Uh, Overall, how'd you like the Beatrice and Glennie fight?
Man, that was hard to watch. Um, the gluttony fight was was nuts in a way. Um, so I really got a little bit confused with Julius. I guess he did it the same that he did to Ren. That he ate his memories.
So,
Um, hmm
so I don't know what's happening with Julius, right? But with Otto and Beatrice, right? I think we should
hmm
go over that one first because it's like at the beginning. The fight was crazy. Like first of all, Beatrice was
Yeah.
like using all her possible magic, and meanwhile
hmm
Glennie was just like avoiding and pretty much tanking everything.
hmm
And we found out that if a person that uh knows the name of somebody gets eaten, and
hmm
then he eats, he can basically get the name through that method. He doesn't necessarily have to know it himself. The person that he eats can have that name, and he can then erase them as well if he licks them.
Right.
So that was pretty crazy. And Felt, oh man, how did you feel about Felt coming in clutch?
Who coming into play?
Felt, Reinhardt's
Oh yes, the girl. Yes, that was crazy because it wasn't really her name, so give them the hand. I
Yep.
mean, it worked out. It really came. She came tr- true with for them. So yeah. I mean, it was intense fights. Like there were all
Yeah, but
really really, and I'm glad they all won their little battles, even
well,
though some of them were tie or withdrawal, and the only one that really did win was Priscilla with capturing her,
I mean,
Captain Ross.
so did Subaru and Emilia. They pretty much won their fight because they killed the person.
That too. That too. They killed that. Yeah, it's true.
But Priscilla did get the biggest W. I agree because remember I told you I don't think Wrath is dead. I'm like she fell into the water.
Right.
I don't doubt she's dead, and turns out Priscilla captured her. So
Mhm. Mhm.
good on Priscilla. I for the
Mhm.
moment, um, what I really got really scared of was when the actual like uh Sim Bishop of Gluttony showed up and just took Otto's shins. Like you could
Yeah.
that was crazy. It was just like bone, and it was like damn. Um, that was the only one I can say that they actually lost because they kind of had to let him go.
Mm.
But I mean, when I was seeing like yeah they didn't take any major loss. First of all, it's because the people that are just laying around they don't even know who they are or that they existed anymore because of gluttony, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And when everything was happening and they were showing everybody that was safe, did you notice they never showed Ricardo or Julius?
Yep.
I so my instant thought was like, what happened to Julius?
Right.
Which
And then at the end we find out. Poor
that
guy.
was that was so
Yes.
crazy because
Mhm.
Subaru just goes up to him and is just trying to make conversation with like somebody he deems as a friend now, right? And he's like, "Yo, Julius,
Mhm.
how's it going?" And Julius just like,
Mhm.
"You know me?"
Man. Oh my God. Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
My Julius, my buddy. But
yeah. It was like
yeah.
it was really crazy because he was. It was hard because Emilio actually saw him.
And I don't even know what was that with the whole memory, the apple and the other person.
So that's Julius's brother, but we don't. I don't know if they've been confirmed to be there. I would have to go rewatch the entire ReZero to find out if
Right,
Julius
me
has a
too.
brother. But we know he has a brother, just that he's forgotten about it because Glennie got to him. And yeah, it's rough. It's rough because even Emilia was like, "Yeah, do you um do you know who this person is? He your friend?" So like Emilia's kind of
Mm.
confused herself, and
Yeah, because it doesn't take effect on him.
yeah, it's because Glennie got to him somehow. But so
Mhm.
my prediction on why Julius is still here and conscious is
Mhm.
is because he has either a pretty high connection to Subaru, or maybe it's because one of this. You know how he has guarding spirits around him, right? He can call like high level
Mhm.
spirits. Maybe one of them protected him from losing his consciousness.
Mhm.
That's what I'm presuming is why he's not laying in bed with Rem.
Right.
But
Something. Yeah, I mean, it has to have taken like a different effect because yeah.
yeah, uh, but aside from that, the whole thing with Rat and Subaru when they were talking, how'd you feel about that conversation?
What
Wrath, how she was like, "Oh, that's where Petal Geese is, right?" Or where,
oh yeah, that conversation with them. I like that Al was like told you it was gonna be useless, but it really wasn't.
nope.
It really wasn't. And with Soboro, did it did help them
Yeah,
to figure some things out. So So I mean, it's still like it's just to me it was just like clues, so you can start paying attention to that, but that you really could have really gotten something like, did you really actually figure something out? Not really. Kind of got
But they
starting
can.
points, Yeah, where they can start, like and go from there, kind of thing, at least.
Yeah,
So.
but no, yeah, I like that. The one thing that Rat did say that was kind of useful is like beware of gluttony, which kind of ended up being true because now we don't know where Julius is or why Julius
Mhm.
is the way he is.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, man, talk about a cliffhanger. uh, definitely
Right.
definitely brutal one. So that's for me, per usual. VCO is just a 10 out of 10 all throughout. I have no
Yeah.
no
It's good.
I have no complaints on V0. Um, but that's it. That's all I have on it. You
That's it.
okay? My Happy Marriage. We got episodes 9, 10, and 11. So, which one do you want to start off with first? The
Yeah.
You want to start off with 9?
Mhm.
So, and this one is like where the main point of this one is they're pretty much getting a plan to get Kyoka away from Mio, right? Or like separate
Right.
them so that they can try to get Mio to awaken somehow. So Kyoka gets sent to where some grotesques are. Meanwhile, Yusui kind of goes to where Mio is, or like somebody, or he sends somebody to where Mio is, I believe.
Mhm.
And we find out that his plan to get Mio to awaken is going to involve ending Kyoka. So
Oh.
now that we have a guy that has like invisible hand powers or something like that is trying to go after Mio, and the sister-in-law and all them, and pretty much uh he starts turning into a grotesque as well, right? I think he ate like a pill that gave him like even
Mhm.
more abilities or something. And
Yeah, that was crazy. The whole pills to turn them into monsters.
yeah, and Kyoka obviously arrives in there to like save her in time, but then also gets betrayed, or not betrayed, but like gets taken into custody because Usui,
Right.
surprisingly enough, his other ploy was to take over the whole military faction, or like the
Mhm.
headquarters, I should say, of it.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, who's the one that betrays everybody? We knew it. We knew it was coming. It's Arata. Uh,
Yep. Yep. You knew it. We knew it.
yeah, it's been inklings. He's met up with Yusui. He's still alive somehow, and now he's finally showing his true colors, where he's not necessarily evil. He feels like what he's doing is the right thing, but at the same time, it's kind
Mhm.
of it's pretty fucked to do this to people that you grew close to and got their trust from.
Right.
And man, it was like really kind of bittersweet when Hyoka, as he's being taken away, kind of lets Mio know, like, he loves her. you know, pretty pretty bad timing, But
Yeah.
yeah, then episode 10 is when we get introduced to his little Shinigami or whatnot, right?
Oh, that was so cute. Mio needed that.
Yeah, I really love that it was the same pepper plane that I think he gave her like in the first season that was supposed to keep her safe. And now it's finally like manifested into like a mini Kyoka. So she calls him Kyo.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really
Yeah.
cute. Yeah. So this is where pretty much we get like a little more also stuff about what the plans are with uh the gifted communion basically taking over the government essentially, and they're kind of like doing this to get Mio to become the ruler of it,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much that's they're they're trying to get her there because she has like the ability that supposedly the mother was supposed to get, and
Yeah, that was nice moment with the mother too.
yeah, yeah, the mother was nice. Was a nice like I think we got like a dream sequence right with her and Mio in this one as well. Where now the mother kind of like tells tells Mio about the past that she had with Yusui
Mm-hmm.
and how she couldn't become the maiden that they needed because she developed telepathic abilities. Which is stated that if somebody with the dream side develops telepathic abilities, they can no longer become like the maiden of foresight.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the entire thing when her and Usui were growing up is that she was gonna become this maiden, and because she couldn't
Mm-hmm.
become that maiden because of she gained telepathic abilities, she felt there was like no longer any need for Usui to keep going about it the way that they have, right, where he was gonna be the sword, and now it was gonna pretty come pretty much be up to Mio to get Usui to learn, right, or like to understand where her mother was coming from, and she did awaken to her
Yeah, that
ability.
was great, and vocalize those because it didn't seem like Usui ever really understood them. So
Yeah, because
yeah, she
he
needs to make sure they come across, you know, very powerful. Yes, indeed.
yeah Mio did awaken those abilities after that dream sequence because she finally steered her heart into where she wanted to go. I believe that was like the main
Mm-hmm.
cause for her not to have awakened him sooner because she was still wavering into how she was going to use her powers or for who she was going to use her powers for.
Mm-hmm.
And now that she realized I'm going to use my powers to save my Kyoka, there should be like no real problem going forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
But episode 11, Kyoka is kind of like seeing Urata through his cell and is kind of confronting him, trying to like burn him, right? And he can't because they have like this special like wall that prevents people from using their supernatural abilities. Uh,
Yeah.
Mio takes a very good, how do you say, like lead in this episode because she already sees
Mm-hmm. She
seen
does.
she's already seen most of the future heading into this plan of like rescuing Kyoka. So now she just kind of has to gather her pieces pretty much as she's going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she gets Goro. She gets was it like the brother of the guy that she liked at the beginning, right? Or the guy that liked her at the beginning, I should say, the brother that can undo basically can undo knots of spells or seals, and she took him to go see.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, good. Yeah, he was definitely necessary to be there.
Yeah, and
Did it.
she even went to go see Kyoka's father, which I thought was really nice because now we got to see how she is with the mother more. Now that they're kind of like in the similar wavelength, right? I think she's starting to realize
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, first of all, she told Mio like you're either in it for the love, or you're in it because of a position or whatnot, right? You're either,
Mhm.
but for you, you're pretty selfish. You kind of want both. You want to be in love with Kyoka, and you also want the name that we carry.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I love that the
Good
mother,
for her, greedy.
yeah,
Good for her being greedy.
which we kind of see what we see where she's kind of at. I think she falls along the ladder of like she kind of wanted the position more than the love,
Yeah.
but Mio was the one that chose both, so it was really
Mhm.
nice. Um, yeah, the I love that as soon as Mio and them showed up, Usui and Earth are like, well, we gotta welcome our guests, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Faced off.
yep,
Face off is
and then
really there.
yeah, we get the breakout, and then they face off right before the show goes on hiatus because of production issues.
Yeah.
What a
It's just really too.
yeah, what a cruel way
Mhm.
to leave us hanging. But that's about it on My Happy Marriage.
Yep.
Apothecary Diaries, episodes 33 to 36. So, uh, we finally get a little info on the former empress, I believe, right?
Mhm.
Um, because there's a painting that was done in her honor by the former emperor, who, by the way, just kind of a sick person,
Yeah.
like in children.
Pedophile.
Yeah, PDF. Um, yeah, it was really um interesting hearing them talk, hearing her side of it, right? Where because she knew that
Mhm.
he liked the younger woman or child in this case.
Mhm.
She took that to her advantage, where she made her own move on him. Like it wasn't even that he went to go after her; she's the one that went after him.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. So, but okay, I'm a little confused though. This is where I get a little confused with the whole
Okay.
thing because she obviously we're talking now she's the empress, right?
Yes.
Like she's the mother of the emperor, right? The
Um.
the one that is going around with all these concubines, right? Like or that's
That's his
no,
note.
that's the mother, right? Oh,
Yeah. Go on.
yeah, that's his mother, right? I'm correct there, right? So far.
If you're talking about
Like
Shinchi, yep, you're correct.
yeah, that's his mother and the brother, right? The emperor.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But how they differ is by the fathers, right?
Yep.
Like he is Jinsi it's son of the son of the emperor or how
Oh,
did that when? Okay.
okay. No, no. I think we got it confused, right? I think Shinchi's brother is from a different mother, but they're both from the same emperor. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Hold on. So they're from different mother, different concubines,
Yep.
um, but the same emperor, the same timid person.
Hold on a second.
So, okay.
Go on.
And but they pretend they're the same mother though.
No. So, the way they go about it is just that Shinji is her son, but because I think the other one was born first from a different one, or I really don't. That's where I'm also confused, I guess, because I don't think she.
Right? Like they really make it very confusing. Like I really know that it's not confusing. They just really make it very confusing. Okay. Well, I'm sure once he explains it to Momo, we'll have better understanding of it.
Yeah,
But yeah, we just know that they're brothers with the empress, and that emperor, yeah, like he's the product of them. That we know clear that he's the product of them too.
yeah.
That that's clear. Yeah.
So
Okay, so
so I just want to
so
say,
the whole painting thing, it was very, very interesting because we also learn about how they always take his toys away because
yep,
he cannot get too attached to anything or too fond of something,
yep,
too obsessively over something, So that was very interesting too
yeah.
to
Also,
know.
also the other interesting part from that episode is the fact that we learned from Shinji's mother that later on she started noticing that the emperor wasn't paying attention to her, so she kind of took it to her own hands and pretty much raped them, and in his own chambers.
Hmm.
Pretty graphic, pretty like brutal. Like find out that she took it that far because, in a way, she is. I guess she is kind of wanted to protect the younger concubines from this predator, but also
Hmm.
felt kind of jealous towards the fact that he wanted them more than her.
Hmm.
Because I do believe
Hmm.
she had his son, and it was through like C-section. So that in so forever she has a permanent scar left behind from him. Pretty pretty interesting stuff. And then we have also in the same episode we find out about the painting, right, from this emperor that he drew of her or painted of her that she
Hmm.
hated and decided to throw away, but then ends up finding it, I think, in within like Shinji's stuff or whatnot.
Yeah, but she doesn't know it's there, but she did see, but we know. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very cool. That one was very cool too. Yeah.
yeah.
The
Um,
whole,
but
but yeah, and then um now like now we know that he's super, ready, mentally preparing to reveal Momo, his identity and
well,
things like that.
well, the mother did warn him. You better not show off that you like your favorite toys too much. I think that was her
Hmm.
warning. Like you should really hide your favorite toys more or something like that.
Yeah.
And then in the following episode, I thought it was really interesting because we got the whole like story modes, right, where everybody told different stories.
Hmm.
Which all these other stories I didn't really, I, I'll be honest, like I didn't really enjoy most of them.
Oh yeah, the horror stories. Yeah, it was just interesting.
Yeah, and the main takeaway is that this was done as a way to like get young girls uh and ship them off to the emperor, right, and then not find out, and then they go missing because there is a story of like, or like a rumor going around that there was like younger concubines were going missing within the castle,
Mhm.
and this
Mhm.
was kind of like the human trafficking part of it, where like she played a
Mhm.
part into doing it, which we know she isn't the regular one that begins it.
Mhm.
So now Momo was like, damn, I should have like really peel my eyes out more because it could have gone really bad for all of us.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's real.
Yeah,
Human trafficking.
yeah.
I mean, that's how Bobo's story really started. Her getting
Yeah,
kidnapped.
yeah, but for it would have been gone worse because they don't know where she could have gone from there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then we got episode 35, which is with Shinji kind of now starting to be like, okay, well, I gotta get Momo more on my side,
Yeah.
and he invites her to this, I guess, like hunting gathering and or like
Mhm.
hunting event, and
Yeah.
I love how Momo's like lady in waiting was kind of picking on Shinji, like, who exactly do you want? Like, do you have a name for her? And Shinji couldn't really
I know.
put a name
Say
to her.
her name.
Yep. Uh,
So funny.
I love that. But
Yeah, they're funny.
really interesting. I think they had Shinji kind of hide his identity for the duration of
Mhm.
it, and he wasn't no longer Shinji. He was like Kausen or something like
The
that.
mask. Yeah. Yeah. Socket. Yeah. Somebody else. Yeah.
And that's why he had to constantly hide his face because they, I guess we later find out that it's probably because the former person that had like a scar on his face,
Mhm.
and if he took that off, they would notice it wasn't him.
It wasn't him. Yep.
And
Yeah.
we thought this was like gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be boring. I thought this was gonna be like a boring kind of thing, and then we get the whole
Mhm.
like,
You thought. Me too. Me too. I thought. I thought. But then we get two super interesting things. Another assassination attempt.
yep, on
You know.
Shinji.
Yeah. And then the and then a small romance trope with them with
Yep.
getting lost and stranded and having a moment from them.
The toad, as the fable people say, as the fable people on Twitter say, this is the what they dubbed as the toad moment. Like, I was wondering
Yeah.
when this was happening because a lot of the discussion around this season was like if they were gonna adapt the toad moment, and I'm just like, what the fuck is the
Mhm.
toad moment?
Mhm.
And
Now we know.
yeah, we know that Shinji's not carrying a toad down there, a toad. Uh, um,
Well, apparently the people that he's pretending to be, they get it cut off,
yep,
so they don't rape the cucumbers or the ladies in waiting and things like that.
yep, and that I love how the entire time Shinji was like trying to get Momo to realize, hey, listen, I gotta talk to you about something, and Momo was like, oh no, he's gonna tell me something important that I shouldn't be knowing.
I shouldn't know. Yeah,
So
more I
she,
know, the more problems it comes for it comes
yeah,
with.
yeah, and she does her best to like avoid all everything to the point where she kind of,
It's making fun of him. Yes.
yeah, makes fun of his big friend
So
of his
yeah,
big toad, and he's like, well, do you want to find out? And she's like, oh shit, well,
yeah,
what am I gonna do? And
this is too much.
yeah, she's like, I teased him too much, and if it wasn't for the dog um
Right.
that came in, they would have gone who knows if Shinji would have gone all the way, but he looked pretty
Mhm.
convinced that he was at
Mhm.
least gonna kiss her, at least.
Yep, I
um
agreed.
and man, thank God for the dog. They found him, and I love that the person that was with Shinji even like noticed like they weren't even really looking for the guy that was supposed to be there.
Mhm.
and and then they came up with the whole plan of let's find out who was really behind this assassination attempt. So they like
Yes,
they lure him out with the
with the
blood
dog and the and the
and
smell
the smell of the gun.
of the smoke of the gunpowder. Yeah, very well. I mean, that's why Momo's good. I also like that we're getting a little bit of a backstory of Shinji's servant and how he
Gaussian.
was, yeah, how he was downgraded to that position. He has
Yes.
seemed to be holding like a more important, position,
Yep.
and in some events or situations, he he takes that,
Yeah.
place. I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah. Apparently, he angered the former empress, and that's why she had him demoted. Um. Pretty interesting. Pretty graphic way to like let somebody know their place. Take their manhood
Right.
and they're done. Also, we've like you said, we did find out more about him, which at this point he was kind of like I always see him. Well, the way I always saw him was like somebody that's just like close to Shinji.
Mhm.
I didn't really see him to be like that deep of a thinker.
Mhm.
But in this one, you really start noticing, okay, well, this guy obviously has an idea of what's coming, and he's even
Mhm.
like wondering like if Shinji has told Mamo about who he truly is,
Mhm.
and not because he wants he wants her to be close to him, but he's basically said we need her as a pawn for what's coming.
Right. So because she is able to think clearly,
Yep.
depending on the facts. Yeah. So knowing more of the truth lets her be able to figure out the situation better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, and
it is it is helpful.
yeah, it's so good. Like I've been this was like this is like it's starting to get like really good, and I'm really enjoying the Apothecary
Hmm.
Diaries.
Yeah, me too. Loving it. Can't wait.
Yeah, but
I actually rewatched it. I rewatched the first season.
oh, did you know?
It
Did you
was
pick
very
up
good.
anything on your
Yeah,
rewatch?
yeah, I picked up a few things.
Do tell.
Um so this whole thing with the assassination in him, like it's been there since the beginning, like that this this Shinji's been kept kind of under the wraps, his identity to the whole world,
Yep.
like and that to me, I also picked up that the strategist, his dad, was the one behind it. They kind of put it like it was her, that lady that resurrected and whatever. But to me, it was also her dad.
Momo's dad.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like her dad was also in it.
Yeah.
Because that expression when he left, I don't think it was the expression of seeing him leaving with Momo in his arms. It was seeing him alive unhurt, like
Yeah.
without like something. So I feel like he is involved in it.
I definitely
Um,
felt that way just from the first watch, but yeah.
right. And that and the whole and also the whole thing with the guy trying to buy off one of the sisters.
Yeah.
I really think there's going to be something more with that too, like like because there's something there too with that lady and the way that she runs that business and how she sells her ladies,
Yeah.
like the way that she didn't want to sell this. I also thought that was pretty like crazy why she kept that girl hidden.
Yeah.
Like I understood the whole situation, how they missed each other, right? Like she was trying to decrease her value. Like she was a strategist and she took the upper hand, but he didn't even realize he got played when he was sent off, like
Yeah.
like very bad timing,
Mm-hmm.
like and but regardless of it, it only took him yes, it was a long time, for whatever happened between them, but it was still, from the 3 years
Yep.
to 3 years of Momo, you can say, to what Momo is now, that's been more of like a decade now, for
Right.
them to be like reunited, and this lady like kept him in the dark for it because he still went. You saw that,
Yep.
so it's like you really want to wonder what, why and why, um obviously for Momo it didn't really matter because to her it was the last years of that lady,
Yep.
so it was just like, but I do think that that guy's gonna come back with the fury, and we're gonna know more about all that
Yeah.
thing. And
I,
oh, also that concubine with the new one, that emperor, especially he's the emperor here, you know.
yep.
It seems like from the beginning, since she was brought in, she's always been like very suspicious and very
Yeah, I've been saying that too since I saw her.
yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
ever since she
yeah.
came, that's when a whole lot of things started like feeling a bit off, right? Like now with the whole
Mhm.
pregnancies and how to
Mm,
cause abortions started happening as soon as she arrived. So
mhm. Mhm.
she's definitely
Mhm.
shady.
Mhm.
I agree. Um,
Yeah, and her dad even more. Her dad is
yeah,
worse. And he's, yeah, I don't know. Every time they're do something or make a move, seems like it complicates things, or does a domino effect on something.
yeah,
So,
I agree.
but yeah, yeah, no, very good stuff, very good stuff.
Yeah, I agree, and I can't wait to continue this on when I keep discussing it in the spring season.
Yes, yes, gotta continue.
But
Yeah, good stuff.
that's it on
Yeah,
Apothecary Diaries.
great,
Okay,
great
so
stuff.
what are you? But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this stream also. So thank you
Yeah,
guys
good stuff.
for coming, and for all the
Yeah,
YouTube
thanks for
people.
joining.
You know, if you like what we discuss, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit us up with a comment so we can yap with you guys in the comment section. Share the video if you can, and until next time, bye.
Next time, bye bye. Hey.